薄いのアホ。
プリズムパワーメイクアップカードレディー。
Welcome to Shojo Tell, where we discuss shoujo manga and tell who's hot and who's not, talk about themes, and just generally geek out. Today, January 26th, 2022, we'll be shoujo and telling about the series After Hours by Yuhta Nishio, which is not at all a shoujo series. It's a Yuri Seinen series. For what it's worth, only shoujo series were advertised in the back of Volume 2, at least, that I saw, so they clearly think shoujo people are reading this at Viz. Anyway, I'm your host, Ashley McDonald, and I'm joined by my husband, Asher Sofman. Hello, husbando.
Hello. Is this the first time I've been your husband on this podcast?
Maybe?
Huh. Hello, I'm her husband, Asher Sofman.
It feels fake, but I can't remember stuff.
I'm wearing the ring right now. Oh, it feels
Wow.
fake that not that I am your husband, but that this is the first time I've been introduced as your husband. I see.
This is a great start. Okay. No, you are definitely my husband. Okay. All right. I see. This is good. We're doing great. All right. So, y'all probably be like, what's up with your podcast? Why are you doing a Seinen series? So, I'm going to explain some things right now. General life update. So, I'm currently very aggressively trying to save money because I have some very big expenses, namely medical things and a new roof on my house. Then I'm like, hey, I would really like not to have to pay that off for several years. So I'm just going to I'm going to hunker down and save that money, as Lil Dicky would say, which means I'm really trying to just do manga series that we have laying around our house that we haven't done yet. A lot of them are courtesy of Asher's brother, Andrew, being a hoarder who has bought all these manga and then given them to us. So this does not mean we're going to do only garbage series. Don't worry. I'm going to do Shortcake Cake and Love Com and Marmalade Boy in the next few months. I'm going to keep you entertained. But I know that I did say I was I really want to do Daytime Shooting Star and Sailor Moon, and now I'm I don't think I don't own those series, so it might take more of a hot second to get there. Also, yeah, I have been experiencing some complications from my first medical procedure that I did. I have to do the medical procedure again, so obviously I'm real excited to suffer some more.
She's doing great.
I'm doing great.
You're doing great, sweetie.
I'm doing great, sweetie. I won't go into any details, but basically all the doctors that I talk to are like, dang, your case is really rare. And I'm like, please don't say that. I don't like it when you say that to me. I don't like being a weird enigma thing. So I'm not having a lot of fun. So I'm YOLOing right now, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do the Seinen series, which honestly, I had wanted to do After Hours for a long, long time. But I put it off because I really wanted to, bring a DJ on or something. I have failed at that. But right now, I'm like, okay, my medical thing is happening, YOLO. Also, I'm reading the new biography that came out about Tim Berglig, which is Avicii. Everybody knows him as Avicii. And I've been really into EDM since at least 2006. So exactly half of my life. So I'm just going to assume that I have enough knowledge to do After Hours justice. And we're all going to have to trust in that. All right. So we're going to talk about After Hours now. This is a very short series. For once, I'm going to give the synopsis. Hot seat. Oh, my God. Okay, the beginning is a spoiler-free section for anybody who's like, what's After Hours? Here's where we warm up. We tell you what it's about, how we like it, stuff like that. Okay, so After Hours follows this 24-year-old named Emi Asahina. She's, only not just out of college. She's had a job, but she was like, that sucks. And she quit. So she's unemployed. Her friend asked her out to go to a club, and then her friend immediately ditched her. She didn't even find her at the club. She was like, oh, she already leaving with a man. And Emmy's like, I don't like clubs, I'm gonna leave. But then she runs into this cool chick named Kay, And Kay's like, no, come on, we can vibe. Like, I'm gonna show you we vibing.
She did not say that because she's 30 and she doesn't have that vocab.
I'm projecting a little. I always make characters a little more funny than they actually are. Yeah. So, you know, she tries to convince Emmy that clubs, like, different people come for different reasons at clubs. They're like, you know, you make of it what you will. So she's like, we have fun. Eventually they go back to Kay's place and bone down. Like, that's like literally within 20 pages, you guys. I'm not spoiling anything. Just bone down immediately. Yep. From there, the story is pretty much like there's two driving forces. One is of which is like, Emmy didn't usually bone down with girls before, so she's like, oh, relationship with Kay, how? Oh, ladies, okay. And the other one is just Kay being like, we are gonna throw a rave. And Emmy's like, I don't know anything about EDM, which stands for electronic dance music, in case you also don't know anything about EDM. And she's like, we're gonna throw the best rave. And Emmy's like, okay, I'm gonna try to help with that. She learns how to be a VJ, which is video jockey. Yeah, so that's pretty much after hours. Like, it's literally like, here's how you be a DJ. I'm not making that crap. Like, very, very informational DJ 101 series here. So this is where I tell you my level of familiarity with the series. I believe at the time I was dating somebody. So it came out in 2017 in America. At that time, I was dating a Viz employee, and this is published by Viz Media in America in English. I believe he was just like, yes, lesbian DJs, here is volume 1. And I was like, yes, this is everything I've ever wanted. And then I assume Asher has only read it because I possessed it.
Yes. So I think Ashley has read it at least one more time than me. But I have read it twice at this point.
Yes, I believe I have possibly read it 3 times. Yes. So, and again, it's a very short series, so only 3 volumes. So if you're like on the fence, being like, I'm not sure if I want to read this, like, not a huge investment. Although the 3rd volume is like a volume and a half.
It's a chonker.
So 3.5. Okay, the reason for that is because it was running in a like, I think, a fairly new magazine that actually did end up going under. So I think the end got kind of rushed there. Yes. So favorite aspect of the series for me, again, I will reiterate, I was like, it wasn't even that they were lesbian. It was just like, female DJs sold. Like, I don't need to know anything else about this, because I am all about anything that will portray women being DJs. Like, that's so rare in real life. It's just so broy. This scene, like, plenty of women obviously like EDM, but the actual producers or club DJs, like, so male dominated. And if you don't believe me, seriously, all you have to do is look up DJ Mag, top 100 DJs. If you go back to the time when this is like hearkening to, because it came out initially in Japan in 2015 and is responding to like the globalization, like the global phenomenon that became EDM from like 2010 to 2014, which we'll get into. It's totally, if you like click 2012, there's going to be like 2 female DJs on it. It's going to be Nervo and Cruella. I'm going to take like bets on this. I didn't actually look. I just know this is what I remember. And only more recently have there become more female. Like, if you look at the 2021 list, there's going to be like maybe like 7 female DJs on it. Ooh, out of 100. Like, really creeping up there, you guys. Like, it's just bad. Like,
no
so
glass ceiling. The glass ceiling is dead.
The glass ceiling, we broke it. That's right. No. So just really here for anything that portrays female DJs. Not even gonna get really into race, but also just like race things in EDM are very bad these days, which I think is a tragedy, because EDM totally stems out of like 1970s disco, and 1980s house scene was all like black run underground club scenes. And that is so not what it is now. Now it's all like European white boys. So you know, that's what I'm in it for. Asher, what's your favorite aspect? Because I don't think it's that.
Well, I'm definitely not a DJ. I'm not the DJ Ashley brought onto this podcast. No. I am far more in the camp of I don't know anything about EDM. What I know from Ashley.
It's true.
It's completely true. No, my favorite aspect, I think, is sort of the light-hearted tenor of their relationship. Like, they jump into bed right away, which was like, whoa, okay.
Whoa, boobs happened. All right.
Boobs happened. And I sort of liked the way they worked around from that to a relationship. Like, are we friends? Are we, I'm living in your apartment. And like, they have serious problems. And I think both times major drama comes up, I think it's actually a little overblown and kind of annoying.
Oh,
but,
yes. 100%.
They still resolve it like adults using their words for the most part.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Especially coming from like a male mangaka. Like, I'm not, obviously because I'm sort of like, most manga I read these days comes because I'm coming onto this podcast. So I'm reading a lot more female writers than I probably would have otherwise. I'm not used to seeing relationships portrayed as work, and especially not by male authors in Japan or otherwise. So, and that's sort of not what I would expect out of a seinen manga either. I guess the other major seinen I've read are like Dimension W and Chobits was seinen, right?
Yeah, Chobits is seinen.
Well, that's its own thing. It's got its own special
its own thing.
case.
I thought we might do that like soon. Maybe
we don't own it.
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do? Well, why don't we do that?
I own the like old Tokyo Pop versions.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I like sort of, even when for the main couple it feels like everything's the end of the world, like the manga does not treat it as the end of the world, and the people around them don't treat it as such either. And I was like, all right, refreshing still. Maybe it'll be refreshing for as long as I live.
Forever and always refreshing. Yeah, that is pretty good. Yeah. No, definitely. I'm glad you also think that the two moments of drama, I'm like, oh, no, stop.
Whoa.
But they're not like drawn out. So it's like, all right, yeah, I accept it.
Yeah.
So that's good. Okay, Asher, I guess I do have to ask then, like, you're not into EDM. Like, to me, I don't understand what the appeal of this manga is. Sans being into EDM. So, like, do you feel that it's still enjoyable?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Okay. Do you feel you need to be into Yuri for it to be enjoyable?
No, I think you need to be, like, supportive of lesbians to be into it. Otherwise, what are you doing here? But I enjoy it from, like, I like learning things, and it is a very, I don't know that you can learn how to be a DJ from this manga, but it's definitely a window into a scene I wouldn't otherwise ever experience, and that feels real. Research was either done extensively or the author just already is into this. Yeah. So I like that. I do like the characters. I think the story is really sort of more about how to be a grown-up than how to be in a relationship. Like, being in a grown-up relationship is part of that. I guess. And those beats still hit me hardish.
Yeah, right. No, this manga is definitely like everything that Emmy goes through. I'm like, oh, that might hit too hard for me. Like,
for you, how do you think I feel? Oh. Yeah. So, and I think that's good. It's definitely enjoyable, even if you're not into EDM. Like, the music, honestly, like for you went and like took out the music and you looked at them and you were like, oh, I remember this song. For me, like,
yeah,
I have no concept of like what was played in this manga, and like it doesn't matter. There's one spread where there are lyrics, and that's the extent of like my experience of the music of this. What I get more is the visuals of the club, of the VJing, what a mixer and a turntable set looks like. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the art is it's, I wouldn't call it the most beautiful, but it's like, it's charming.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I really like their like silly faces a lot.
They very commonly have this V smile, and I'm just like, it's cute.
Yeah, they're pretty cute. I love when their mouths just become like squiggles and stuff too.
Yeah. There's a lot of like life and energy in the drawings, especially of Kay, I think.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, Emmy has a lot of really great faces, and that's one of the things Kay loves about her.
I mean, justified.
Absolutely. Both characters are just like, they're nice to look at. Like, and I don't mean that in like a creepy voyeuristic way. It's like, I look at them and I'm like, oh, that's like cool and visually interesting and appealing, and like, I want to root for you two, both of you.
Yeah, no, I feel like because I relate so hard to Emmy, I'm just like, yeah, but B and K would be cool. Let's go be K.
It's so funny to me that you relate so hard to Emmy, because I relate so hard to Emmy. Usually we're like on opposite sides of a character.
Okay, I mean, wait, but like she worked at a tech company and gets like disillusioned with it. And I thought one of the best jokes in it is when Kay is like, Emmy, don't go like trying to get a job at a company that will keep you until like the trains stop running and make you come in to like fix servers on the weekends. And she's like, okay, so I won't work at any startups. And I was just like, zing, burn.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I feel like I guess I feel like I'm a hell space in between Emmy and Kay.
All right, I'm very firmly in the Emmy camp, like coming in without the experience in the EDM scene, and also floundering a lot longer than you did.
Yeah, floundering. Floundering. Yeah. Well, we'll get into this millennial feels. Yeah, so that's that's the summary of After Hours. If you want to go read about lesbian DJs and you haven't yet, like, go do that, because now we're gonna spoil all the things. And it's only 3 volumes, so like probably spoil a lot of things.
Spoil the whole thing.
So spoil the whole thing. Okay, so here we go. So I want to set the scene of like EDM a little bit, and also my holes in my knowledge here. Like, I super do not know what the scene of EDM is in Japan in particular. It makes sense to me that, you know, in this manga is set mostly in Tokyo. Sure, that makes sense. Tokyo be the biggest place for that to happen. Literally the only thing I know is that there's a cool grandma DJ in Japan. She goes by the name Sumi Rock when she's DJing. But like her day profession is making dumplings, and I was a bit of a creepy stalker and went to her dumpling shop when I was in Japan, and She knows how to speak English, and their menu is totally only in Japanese because it's like not in a touristy part of town. So our server got very frustrated with us because he was like, they have no idea what any of this says. And he didn't know English. So he like made us talk to her, which was great. I love it. I didn't do anything creepy, you guys. We just ate dumplings. Just to be clear. That was us. So beyond that, I know nothing about like what's cool in Japan, really. But regardless, I feel like that doesn't really matter because I think a lot of the things that Emmy goes through, as we've alluded to, really also relates to American millennials that graduated around the same time as she did. Presumably, if we assume it was set in present day 2015. So like makes a lot of sense to me. Mm-hmm. I also think that EDM at this time just took over the whole world because from like, again, 2010 to 2014, that's when like Avicii and Deadmau5 and like Calvin Harris, Skrillex, just Swedish House Mafia, like tons of big names are just blowing up, like taking over pop music. So regardless of where you were in the world, it's just like, here they are, mostly the Swedes. They're coming for us, you know? Like the Swedes are really leading charge here. So I think that this manga is pretty much in response to that whole global phenomenon. So first we can talk about this whole millennial malaise that is really happening to Emmy. Oh my god, it's so relatable, man. Come on.
Yeah. I also worked for a tech company, remember?
Oh yeah.
It was still sort
terrible.
of a startup back then too, even.
Yeah. Oh, the panel that always gets me is towards the beginning where they're like washing dishes together, Emmy and Kay, and you know Kay's slightly older and has her life more figured out, like who she is, what she wants to be doing, all these things. So she's 30 and she's making fun of Emmy for having a quarter life crisis, and I'm like, yo girl, that's real though. Like, what's up? I think this also relates a lot to why EDM is like appealing to our generation, though, because in the Avicii biography, this is specifically when it's talking about his eventual girlfriend named Emily. So it's like in Emily's head from her perspective. I think it's 2011. And it's like she's listening to Skrillex and like just hearing about Avicii and all these things and Swedish House Mafia. And it describes how, you know, she's like, well, you know, it's going to be one of the worst job markets when she graduates college because, you know, the 2008 recession has just happened. Like, it's not a lot of job prospects. But she's like, but EDM just provides this whole, like, happy place, right? Like, it's all just, like, euphoria all the time. And, like, things are so awesome right now. And so it like, provides that escapism. So just like hits at that perfect time. So I'm like, yeah, this manga. I really think that Nishio has to just like really like EDM.
Oh yeah, I do think so. I think probably it's a mix of both, and he had to do some research for the manga too.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that makes sense. But yeah. I think he's just naturally also into EDM.
Oh yeah.
I think it makes sense that Kay as an ideal is great. Like, it makes sense. I do kind of not like the ending where she has to go and she's like, well, I don't like my family and we don't have a great relationship and they live in small town nowhere that I don't like, but my dad died in a warehouse fire. Yeah, so Kay ends up having to, she feels obligated to help her family recover. And she just like up and left her whole DJ crew and Emmy in Tokyo. No explanation. Just goes back to her town. And I'm just like, what is this?
This is drama.
Drama llama? Mm-hmm. I definitely don't like it.
It's also just like Kay is not good at expressing negative emotions, I think. and doesn't want to take responsibility when things are uncomfortable. I don't think Yuta is trying to condone her actions or be like, this is the right thing to do. Exactly. I think she is in a rough spot where what is the right thing to do? And her family doesn't seem that bad either. Like,
yeah, I was like, we got a very strange portrayal of her family too. Like, her aunt is really the only one we see. And at first it tries to be like, yeah, look at her. She's so mean and like aggressive. And then she's like totally nice in the end.
Yeah. And we catch them at a bad time. Like, her brother, Kay's father, just burned to death in a fire.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough. I mean, yeah, it's just like, I guess I find it a very strange place to have ended when it's a story about not just like finding your people. Like, I feel like it's the way we always portray this is like, well, when you find your people, then it's just great. And it's like, no, I think this, as you were saying earlier, one of the great aspects of this manga is that actually it's like relationships are hard. And even when Kay thought she found her people initially, it all fell apart. She had to find them again.
Mm-hmm.
And then like she has to aggressively keep them in contact, right? Like, and do these events to keep them together.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. And then for it to end on this note where it's like, and then Kay was just like, you know, she abandoned her cool persona and just went back to her family who apparently doesn't like her. And I was like, okay. Is that really the only way that Emmy could ascend here? I don't know.
I think now that you said that the distributor or the publisher went under, I'm like, oh, this was the setup to a much longer arc that could have been really cool, and we just didn't get it.
yeah, exactly. It's so I think it's unfortunate. I think there was gonna be more of this manga probably, but it was just like, we have to get to the end now, so here we go.
Yeah. I think I agree that I'm not super into this ending. Like, it feels, it's a letdown, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm like, oh, this is a fascinating character choice for Kay. I would have liked to see more of her family, and like, you know, is the bad blood between them because she has always liked women? I don't know. What is the dynamic going to be now that her father is dead? She's the head of a family, and apparently it's a fairly large family. Like, if it's a large enough family to have like an official head, like, dang. So I'm not as like angry at it. Like, I'm not it's a letdown as an ending.
Yeah.
It could have been really cool. Because again, like, the story under the story is about being an adult, and being an adult is about compromise and priorities and figuring out like what you need to do, not just to be happy, but to like look back and be like, I lived as I meant to. I was true to my values and what I care about. And I did what I could to make this world that I was in good. So I think it's fascinating that Kay went back. I really want to see what that would have led to.
Yeah, I guess it definitely just needed more time. I feel like I'm not even frustrated by the lack of time. What I'm definitely frustrated by is like kind of the bait and switch between like her family is, you know, bad, or at least bad to Kay, but then like we don't see that, and then Kay at one point is like, Emmy, you don't belong in this town, right? Like, you wouldn't even understand how people interact with each other. And it's like, well, how is that different than Emmy doesn't understand like what the club scene is? That doesn't like keep her out of it, you know? Like, I just, and then like, you know, we get to see little snippets of it. It's like, is it really that hard to understand how people in this small town relate to each other? Like, I just didn't feel like what Kay said and then like how it was initially portrayed to us like at all then matched the later stuff, and it's like yeah, so I think, you know, it's a pretty good setup of a basic millennial crisis story, in my opinion.
It's also like I'm thinking about like what that story could have been going on. It's like it's setting Emmy up to learn how to be a DJ and like manage events. And like we don't get to see that story, but like that's clearly her like Bildungsroman thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a trope we all are familiar with, is your mentor dies usually. And you have to carry on and you become better than the master and you're the Karate Kid.
I see.
And I don't think it would have quite gone in that direction, but like we would have recognized that more than we recognize this sort of strange ending.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I also think that it's ultimately a story about confidence, like, you know, and just like not caring what other people think, you know?
Totally.
And that is very, very EDM in my opinion, because Asher and I are low-key obsessed with the Chainsmokers.
She says Asher and I as if I am not sort of like along for the ride here. I do like them very much, but I never would have like.
I'm low key obsessed with the Chainsmokers.
Low key.
I love stalking them on Twitter and just being like, what are these boys up to? I just like Google them once a month just to see what's up with them. Like, and I am always like, yo, if I could have like 1/10 of their white man confidence in their talents, like I would be so golden, you know? Like I would accomplish so much.
You would be unstoppable.
Yeah, like and Kay is definitely already channeling that. She's just like, Emmy, music is fun, just like have fun. You can be a VJ. You got fingers, right? Like they move. It's cool. You can do it. Like,
yeah, she's got a little bit of that manic pixie dream girl thing going on.
Oh yeah, she does. He is definitely a manic pixie, and I feel like that maybe that's why the end is so infuriating too, though, because it's such a manic pixie dream girl like turn, right? Like.
Well, I think that's also part of what makes it like potentially fascinating. It's like, okay, we had Kay as an idea and an ideal in many ways. Maybe not in many ways, but like I do feel that she is more representative than Emmy is, right? Like she is Emmy's gateway into this scene. She is this idol of do your own thing and adulthood at the same time. But like it's actually hard for her as a human being to maintain. So we're seeing that the ideal K break down, leaving the human K in its wake, and we don't actually get to see that play out, and that's a little frustrating.
Yeah, the other times are like the other time of high drama is when Kay, I guess, thinks Emmy is cheating on her or being indecisive because she finds Emmy's rent slip for the place she still has with her boyfriend, whom she has not broken up with.
They both have this problem of like not addressing things.
Yeah. But the moment that what you said actually made me think of is more when Kay's records get broken from the bag thief trying to take her things at the rave, and she tries to be like, it's okay, you guys, I'm cool, like we still vibing. Right? And then she gets up there and she's like, oh no, but one of them that I was going to play is broken. And Emmy can see that she's like having a meltdown about it. So Emmy's like, let me go buy this real quick and put it on a USB stick and then plug the USB stick into the digital turntable. Woo! Vibing!
Guys, I have never heard Ashley like use vibing ever. I don't know why this is happening. Save me.
Save you, San Francisco. No.
What are you? You know you can't make music references at me. I don't get it. I've never heard songs in my life.
You've never. I'm pretty sure that's like a train song. Like, delete me.
I only know 3 train songs, maybe.
I only know 3 trains. Okay. Glad you know exactly how many train songs you know.
I'm actually not entirely sure. I might only know 2.
Okay. Cool.
Are we still vibing?
Yeah.
All right.
No, we're creating some dissonance. It's not mixing. We're not mixing. I'm fucking grown. I was like, yeah, you throw in those cheesy DJ metaphors. Okay, you do that.
Oh my gosh.
You loved it. Don't lie to me.
I love you.
Great. Okay, so there's a lot of portrayal of tech in this manga, and some of it is, all in good fun, and some of it is like, oh, this is a precursor to the tech hell we now live in. So this manga is full of Apple propaganda, like just straight up. This is an Apple propaganda manga.
Better than other propaganda.
No, it doesn't. No, legitimately, it kind of doesn't make sense to me, because I'm like, there's no way that a Mac laptop is better than like a gaming Microsoft, like Windows-based laptop at like handling DJ software stuff. Like, there's just like almost no way. So that part I was just like, really though? Maybe, like, I guess if you get like the very high end pros and stuff, I don't know. Yeah, and then at one point, so when Kay runs away to her hometown without saying anything to anybody, they're like, oh, Emmy's like, oh my god, I set up her Mac stuff because she doesn't know how to use that because she was using Windows-based things before that. So I set it up and she has to find my phone app enabled. So we're going to use that. And I was like, no, what? Girl. That is some invasion of some privacy. This is the hell that we have created. I'm also pretty sure Apple came out with something recently that they were like, no, this won't be used to track people, and it's like totally, it's totally being used to track people. What is it called? Like,
I don't remember, but I do remember reading a story, like a very scary story, very scary true story about like someone putting like it's stickers or something.
Oh yeah, AirTag.
Yeah. Putting that in someone's car.
Yeah. So this is the latest garbage thing that we have to deal with. So that's fun. And I really think that this, like, a lot of this stuff is also of a time. And I know, again, it's like this manga ran from 2015 to 2017. That wasn't that long ago. But I definitely feel like that is the time where the shift between like, oh, tech is so cool and gonna save us all, and like everything is so good, right? Like EDM's on the rise, Facebook is still cool, like Spotify's coming, like everything. Google Glass still sucks. No, that always sucked. Like just like everybody didn't think every tech company was evil yet. And I feel like this manga now feels like, oh no, a little bit outdated on this front.
Legit.
But that's okay. I say as I have 2 Macs in my room. It's okay.
So you are the Apple propaganda.
Oh yeah, I mean, my ex worked at Apple, and now how am I supposed to jump out of this ecosystem? Every time I use a Windows computer now, I'm like, no, it's terrible. Which is exactly the reaction I had when I switched to Mac. I was like, no, it's terrible. I'm too old to go back now. It's too late for me. I had micro strokes, man. I'm 60. Okay. So we gotta do you like Kay and Emmy as a John? As a John. As a romantic John.
It's called a couple. Yes, I do.
John.
Do you?
You do? I like it. I'm like, oh, we're really not going to address that. Emmy's just like, I'm gay, but only for you.
I don't think it's necessarily that she's gay, but only for Kay. I think it's that, like, she's like, oh, I'm bisexual, maybe.
Maybe.
This is my first time with being this attracted to a woman.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's like, I'm gay, but only for you, which is a trope that exists.
It exists.
I'm also like, and Japan's not as like, Japan doesn't understand LGBTQ like narratives or LGBTQ sort of, what's the word?
I don't know what you're trying to go for.
They just don't understand it the same way we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to say they're better or worse than us. I think they're coming at it from, like, a slightly different place. And, like, to me, steeped as I am in my USA queer feminist theory, I'm like, they're a little behind us. I don't necessarily know that that's true. I have not been to Japan, and I cannot speak to that. I don't know what it's like. But, like, maybe it's, maybe she's a little repressed.
I mean, we do get somewhat of a, like, anytime any character is like, oh, you're together, it ends up being positive. But certainly Emmy and Kay are cautious.
Yeah.
About expressing that in public.
Yeah, they're cautious about it. And they're also like, and they don't seem to have much of a vocabulary for it. Emmy in particular doesn't seem to know, like, how to talk about it. And then Kay is no help. And
Kay's like, eh.
And, like, in a way, I appreciate that that's not what the story is about. Because I've already read so many, like, and this is how you be queer stories in my life. And it's like, no, this is how you be a DJ.
Yeah. The queerness is secondary to being a DJ.
It really kind of is. And I appreciate that, honestly.
Yeah, like, in response to what you were saying, I was going to be like, again, I don't actually usually read queer manga, but my perception of it is that, like, the good and the bad of it is that it doesn't acknowledge the struggles of actually being queer in Japan usually. So it's like a fantasy world, right? Where it's like totally okay.
Yeah. And I appreciated that here. I really
like
did.
sometimes you appreciate it. That's like, what you want out of the story. Versus like, stuff like YA in America is always about like how hard it is to be queer usually.
Right. That's changing too. But still a lot of it is about how hard it is, and like it's built like the expectation of bigotry is built into the narrative, which I do think it is here as well, but lightly so.
Yeah. I think it's also like as you said, it's like the queerness is almost secondary in this story, and I actually feel like the bigger problem with most like American stories is that when there are queer characters, it's always like about them being queer, even if it's positive, right? It's just like it's about them being queer, you know?
Yeah, like, and like that's a complaint that many queer people also have about like the literature that is marketed to us. Like, hey, no, give me the weird time travel lesbian stuck on a subway. It's not about the fact. I mean, it is actually about the fact that she's a lesbian, and it's about the fact that she's stuck on a subway, displaced in time. Read One Last Stop by Casey.
I was like, are you really just not going to say the title? You're going to make me laugh.
I probably said their name wrong, but it's good. It's a good book. Do it. I'm only halfway through. It's good so far.
Yeah, but no, I guess I'm like, yeah, Emmy and Kay make a fun couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're good.
They're good.
Want to see Emmy become a VJ?
No, again, I think at the end she was learning how to DJ.
Oh yeah, she's got to learn how to
taking Kay's place and like.
Oh yeah, because Kay's like sending her mixes and stuff.
Yeah, and she was like trying to figure out how to use the turntables. Don is still there to do DJ stuff until Kay comes back, but like that's exhausting. Like even at the rave, like he and Kay did switch off at one point. None of them were on the whole time.
No, and he was even like, I think there was actually like several people, right? And Don was like, "Oh, I hate to be you, Kay, because you're going on at like the peak." Rave hours, and like I don't feel like I don't have that kind of energy. Okay, which of the side characters do you like the most?
Ooh, I didn't think about
favorite
this.
Crew member.
I mean, they're all pretty enjoyable, honestly, except for I don't care for Shinkawa. Yeah,
no, he sucks.
I don't like Don's beard. I'll be shallow like that.
That's fair.
I mean. Well, probably Pod.
Yes, correct answer. Yeah. I also love Pod.
He's great.
He's the best. My favorite is still when they're introducing all of them, but she already knows Pod, so he's like, I'm still Pod.
I really... There must be something I'm losing in translation here, because I don't know why his nickname is Pod. He has a real name, but I don't know what it is. Like why that's supposed to be funny.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah. I think the one I'd most like to be friends with is Kuma.
Yes.
What a good dude.
What a good man. Yes, Kuma. He's a good boy. I guess I was gonna say I wondered if Pod was supposed to be something like DJ equipment related, like I don't know, pads on a MIDI controller or something. Like, I don't know. Like,
I guess
but
that's
I assume
possible.
It's just some weird Japanese we don't understand. And that's fine.
Yeah. Can't win them all, localizationers?
Localizers. Yeah. I do have to say that my biggest complaint about the manga is actually that like the portrayal of the club scene is so rosy. And I will fully admit that I think some of that is definitely a cultural difference. But like, you know, right now I'm reading the Avicii biography, and Avicii committed suicide and was like totally ODing on drugs and everything leading up, you know, like not exactly leading up to his suicide. He had been trying to come clean for several years, but like definitely destroyed lots of his insides, like being an alcoholic and doing other drugs. he has a famous mention in the song I Took a Pill in Ibiza by Mike Posner, like about taking, like Mike Posner's like, I took drugs to show Avicii I was cool, basically. And like the whole biography is just about how like drugs have destroyed everything. And it's like ecstasy is like super used at, you know, music festivals and raves. Like Joe Biden tried to like shut down all raves in America, basically. That's why music festivals are called festivals now, you know, because they just avoid the word rave in America because it's too like it's too associated with drugs and everything. Dang. Yeah. And so like that's all. And like I personally hate going to live music scenes because it's all just like drinking and doing various drugs, and I'm like, I don't do any of that. So, like it's more about that than anything. But I think in Japan the rules against drugs like ecstasy are stricter than in America. So but like I feel like the only allusion to darkness in this manga is with Midori, who didn't mention. Right. She's one of the crew members. And there's one point where she's just like, yeah, men are always so creepy to me. So like it's better if I have, you know, basically resting bitch face all of the time and just like don't talk.
Yeah, because she has like it was translated as a flowery voice, which I took to mean she has like this baby voice, cutesy
like
voice.
A cutesy girl voice. Yeah.
So like, yeah, the sense I got was like, oh, all right, people are being creepy to her, like specifically in kind of a lolicon way.
Yeah.
Which is it's unfortunate on multiple levels.
Yeah. So like to me, I'm just like, again, it's nice to see women partying and having a good time safely in a manga, but I'm just like, oh, in real life, I don't feel that at all, right? Like, right. I feel terribly unsafe in those environments. Like such that, like, if I, like, I've gone clubbing a couple of times and I was going to go to a music festival, but then the pandemic stopped that. But like, I was going to go to the music festival with a guy. And I've only ever gone to clubs with like certainly at least one other person, if not more. Because you gotta protect each other, yo. Like it's not good.
Right. Yeah.
Which I guess is valid in this manga because they have their own little like crew, but can they kick Shinkawa out of it?
Yeah, he doesn't seem to contribute anything either.
No, he makes like crappy like dubstep. Like he doesn't need to.
Maybe he has money.
What?
Maybe he has money.
Oh yeah, he's just like funding them all. he's just their venture capitalist.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. That was a lesson in confidence in the manga. Don was like, Shinkawa thinks he makes awesome stuff, but it's super crappy here. Here's what he thinks is really good, and just plays, and it's just like, you know, robot sex noises, like terrible like sound effects and stuff. And then he's like, I think this one's pretty good. And he's like, see, terrible. Just have the confidence of Shinkawa. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's the lesson.
Ay. Oh, pod.
The only other fun little thing I wanted to talk about was the song that I said Emmy, you know, like the record got broken and Emmy put on a USB stick to plug into Kay's turntable to save the day, save the night, save 3 a.m. party time.
Save tonight.
Dun, 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 fight the breakup. No. It wasn't that song. So the song was Music Sounds Better With You by Stardust. And, you know, it's like widely considered one of the best dance songs ever. It came out in 1998. It sounds like it's from 1978, but also it sounds like from Forever and Always and now than just Forever Song. So obviously, like, duh, thematically, music sounds better with you. Like, very, very easy game. But I think it's also very funny because this is the only song that Stardust ever put out, and Stardust is made up of one half of Daft Punk, another DJ, and a vocalist. And, you know, it was a super successful song. So everybody was like, make more songs like this. And then the three of them were like, nah. We wanted to leave this with a certain magic and mystery, which is just so truly perfect and would never happen in the garbage. You always have to be producing new original content landscape that we live in now. Like, oh, God, terrible. So I love this certain magic and mystery that we have been left with.
That's so romantic of you.
So romantic of me, I know. This is the stuff I live for, you guys. You don't even know.
She's such a cheeseball.
I'm so cheesy. I love it. It's so good. So I don't usually tell you all that you should go look at my show notes, even though I do make them for every episode, you guys. Like, I try to list out every manga or manga author or anime or just anything that was mentioned that might confuse you. You might be like, I don't know that series. And you might want to be like, maybe I want to know more. I list that in the show notes and put a link to an official source if I can for it. So I'm pretty sure that this show notes is just going to be full of songs. I'm going to try to list out all the songs that were within the manga itself that I recognized. There is one panel at the rave where there is a guy who is wearing a sweatshirt that just has a bunch of DJ names on the back of it, and I'm pretty sure all of them are real. So good luck me. Plus there were a few, like at least 3 songs that were mentioned and other various references happened. So I'll try to do that. I'll try to link to things of any DJs that I mentioned, and I might also try to link to my favorite female DJs and just generally awesome songs. So hold on to your butts, everybody.
And yeah, Ashley has really great taste in music. For all I said, like, I don't know anything about EDM. Everything I learned comes from Ashley. It's like, yeah, Ashley has like, I don't know, 50,000 billion songs on her computer. And whenever we go anywhere, I let her control the music. And I get to hear so many cool things that, you know, clicking recommendations on YouTube won't get me.
Yeah, letting Spotify algorithm you into hell isn't going to get you here, you guys.
Be Ashley's music friend.
Yeah, please be my music friend. That's all I really want, you guys. We can be shoujo manga friends, but if you became my music friend, I'd be like, oh my god. Okay. Thanks for listening to Shojo Tell. Comments, questions, constructive criticism, concerns. Need to gush about your OTP? Tell me how much you love Emmy and K. Don't love Emmy and K. Tell me more. Email shoujoandtell@gmail.com or leave a comment on the episode's YouTube page. We're at Shojo and Tell on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Asher, can people find you on the internet? ?
I have a Twitter.
Yeah, you have a Twitter. It's mostly cats and food.
Yeah. It's Asher Dashery. That's me.
Okay.
Like haberdashery, but with my name.
I see. Are you excited every time you see a new episode from us? If so, please consider leaving a rating on Apple Podcasts. This will help the show reach more hearts, or at least ears. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back next time for the first half of Shortcake Cake by Sue Morishita. At least, it's probably what we'll be back for. I don't know. I make no guarantees. Stay tuned. Until then, bye.
Bye.